let's talk again about money. This is Joshua, MVA Studio, Minneapolis. So I did some videos last week where I talked a little bit about some of the ideas behind pricing our services going forward. And I want to talk about something that a lot of people get caught up in, which is that they do their due diligence and they think about how much money their services should cost or what their hourly rate should be. But then they immediately start to back down off of it by saying stuff like, well, I'm afraid people won't hire me, or I'm afraid I won't get it, or what if I scare people off? All of that kind of stuff. Look, yeah, that might happen, but the other thing is that that's mostly your, your like lizard brain resistance talking, because you're doing something that's uncomfortable for you, which is maybe asking for your worth, or maybe you've never made this much money before, so it's scary for you to think about it. Maybe you are like me and Kim, who grew up kind of like lower middle class or like borderline working class poor. So spending the amount of money on something that you should be getting freaks you out and it pulls you way out of your comfort zone. There's a lot of reasons why you might be scared to ask for a fair amount of money. But the thing that you have to think about is, one, you're never going to find out if it's the right amount if you never ask for it. The other thing that you need to think about is you just need to look at the world and think about all of the things that aren't as good as the thing that you're going to offer that ask for more money. So so many people are freaked out about asking for $100 an hour. That's like what a Supreme t-shirt resells for. I think that you're worth, like, if you do 5 hours of work, would you be fine with being paid in 5 Supreme shirts? Yeah, probably. So you could earn that much money. You do deserve that amount of money. You at least deserve to try, because like this is a big thing. If you're too expensive, people will tell you. They will tell you either they can't afford it, or they will tell you, oh, we usually pay this amount for this. And then you have the option of walking away anyway. But if you're actually too expensive, the market will let you know. The other thing the market might let you know is it's the wrong market for your services. If you are pitching a number and you get shot down every single time, like, that doesn't necessarily tell you the prices are too high. It might tell you you're talking to the wrong people. It might tell you that you're talking to people who don't value the thing that they need, or it might tell you that the story you're telling about your service is not compelling enough and does not justify the cost. Any of those things are reasonable, but the very first step is you have to start asking. There's a thing that gets talked about a lot, and it's true, which is if you ask for something, like, so somebody says like, hey, how much would it be for this? And you put together a little proposal, and then they say, great, and they write you a check, that's a sign that you didn't ask for enough money. You want them to haggle you down a little bit. You want them to at least try. And the one thing is that, actually, it doesn't matter. You just want them to try. If they don't try, that's another sign that your prices are too low. Figure out what you think you're worth and then start asking for it. And don't automatically assume that it just means that your prices are too much if you're not getting it. And at the same time, if they do start bringing you down, there's a good chance that the number of people will cut you down to is more than you would have gotten in your olden days. Like when we started to price things more accurately, what we found was that people would be like, oh, well, we normally pay this much. Or they would say something like, well, we normally pay this much, but we could do this. And the could do would be higher than the normal, which was still lower than what we asked for. But in the olden days, we probably would have just gotten that initial number. So bumping it up to what you think you actually deserve, asking for it, most of the time the worst case scenario is you get less than you asked for, but more than you normally would have gotten. you'll just be told it's too expensive, and then you can push back and be like, you can say, okay, well, what can you afford? Because now you know that they have a budget, and once they tell you what they can afford, then you could go back and say, one, you could decide whether to do the project, but two, you could go back to your numbers and say, well, here's how I could adjust it to make that number work. Hopefully that's a helpful one. Just the thing I was thinking about because I was talking about money with somebody today. Take it easy. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them.